Welcome, everyone. This is the latest interview in our special community showcase series highlighting the Informs communities, which are comprised of special interest sections, societies, forums, and chapters. I'm joined today by Andrew Trapp, the outgoing president of the Informs Public Sector OR section, to talk about his community's activities. Andy, welcome, and thanks so much for joining me for our first community showcase of 2023.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ashley.
Andy, could you share how you came to be involved in this specific Informs section?
Yeah, absolutely. So I became increasingly involved in PSOR community as I understood more of who I am and what I do, which is an optimizer who's passionate about using operations research and analytics and computation to improve outcomes for vulnerable peoples.
So operations research in the public sector has a wide range of applications, but what really struck me is that above all else, members of the PSOR section define their work as doing good with good OR. Could you give us some insight into the type of work that members of your section are involved in?
You know, there's a wide variety, as you mentioned. I'd say even multiple categories. I joined mostly for applications of serving vulnerable peoples, like homeless, immigrants, survivors of human trafficking. There's many other terrific applications like governmental challenges, voting, redistricting. There's many public health challenges. Vaccinations, you can imagine, humanitarian aid and operations and other nonprofit operations. Many of these contexts have the similar aspects in that there's multiple stakeholders. These are not easy decision-making environments with multiple conflicting sometimes stakeholders or objectives, and that demand often greatly exceeds supply. So there's a lot of questions of how do we meet this demand with our very limited supply.
So Andy, before we dive deeper into the society and its activities, I'd love to take a look at how the field has been impacted in the last few years as the country and really the world navigated the COVID-19 pandemic.
You know, we saw some amazing work in the public health sphere. I think we're well aware of some of those things, right? Just in the general media. Some public goods are certainly impacted. I'm thinking of voting in elections, the delays that there were in services and how we were able to overcome those with operations research techniques. And I think rich research opportunities emerge, like vaccine, ventilator allocation, distribution under, again, extreme scarcity. And these also raise fairness and equitability considerations and concerns.
And now, as we look ahead to the future, what do you think the next big challenges are that those leveraging OR in the public sector will be tackling?
From my perspective, combating human trafficking, it's a huge challenge. There's also immigration operations. This is an emerging area. Voting challenges, these are critical. Public health, organ allocation, improving public access to even basic needs like housing, education, even electricity and healthcare. We see some of these topics as finalists or even winners of our Best Paper Award competition in the public sector OR section.
So now, circling back to the section, what are some of the benefits of belonging to the PSOR section, in particular, perhaps for those in the early stages of their careers?
You know, the world is full of challenges that are literally hidden in plain sight. I would suggest getting into the field and observing what's out there, speaking with practitioners to see what challenges they're facing. And it takes an ability to notice and take some risk to jump in and use one's theoretical, methodological modeling abilities toward problems of significant societal impact. These problems are no easier than others. In fact, they're usually messier and they have real world conditions and implications, with multiple stakeholders, as I mentioned, and we need to satisfy those different stakeholders and, having acute demand and needs. But in doing this, there's great satisfaction, I think, in doing this work that really contributes to our society.
So now, what are some of the section's biggest activities or events throughout the year?
Well, we sponsor and co-sponsor sessions at multiple conferences. That's kind of one main thing that we do. And most notable in the last decade or so is we have a Best Paper Award. So we get a lot of great submissions there, and it's an exciting competition every year that's held. The winners are announced at the annual conference. And then new this year, and which is really exciting, is a Best Video Award. And that'll really give an opportunity to showcase the best of our community in a new format, which we're really excited about.
Andy, thank you so much for sharing a look inside the public sector OR section, its role in advancing public service and value to members.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ashley, for the opportunity.
And to all our viewers, stay tuned for more interviews highlighting the informed sections and societies throughout the coming year.